Recording in progress.
Joe, would be good? Alright. Good evening, folks. We're going to call a meeting to order here at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, February 7th, here at the town offices. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. I need to add under highway hay mulcher. It's a grant from NRPC.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, hay mulcher under B highway.
Thank you.
I think everything else is on there. Early anything to add? No. Nicole?
No.
Kathy?
Yes, under the liquor license renewal, I need to add Jolly Associates, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You did. You need to add Jolly, you said?
Yeah, yes.
Bill, anything? You good? Brian?
Under highway, add the letter from the state on the weight limit.
Okay, yeah.
And then in correspondence, we received a request from the Knox Richard Health Center, and I just like to.
Okay, where do you want to add that?
In correspondence.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, under Old Town Business, I'd like
Okay.
to add C, which would be a formal feasibility study for the community center.
Okay.
Rec center.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
That is it?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. I hear a motion to approve the minutes from January 17th and January 31st, regular meeting and special meeting.
I'll move.
A second?
All right, any other discussion on those? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Public comment, anybody got any comment on that's not on the agenda? That's good there. Law enforcement, chief's right up.
About 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right, finish signing then. Evening, sir.
Good evening. Evening, Chief. Evening, Chief. Thank you.
Okay, so in the month of January, you'll see the officers responded to 57 incidents in the town. The top 10 incident types were traffic stops 9, citizen assist 6, alarms 5, suspicious persons 4, family fights 4, motor vehicle complaints 4, directed patrols 4, citizen disputes 3, community outreach 3, and controlled substance problem 3. If you look at the traffic or ticket data on page 4, I believe it is. You'll see there were 9 traffic stops. There were 2 tickets issued, 7 warnings. One of these, incident number 121, said it was a warning, but it was just a mistake on the officer's part when they populated the field, so it pulled it as a warning when it generated a ticket number, and so that's what struck me, and I took a look at that to see. One thing that I realized when I did the report for the village last time was that, and this has come up before here as well, is that if you look at violation street name, sometimes there are streets all over the place, right, in different areas, and what we found was I need to get a response from Crosswinds as to why this may be happening in the CAT-RMS system, is that occasionally, not in all circumstances, but occasionally it's populating the operator's address in that field. But when you actually look at the incident itself, it shows exactly where that stop took place. Yeah, so that's one anomaly with the system, the way it pulls data, is that it was putting the operator's home address in that field. And then as far as arrests go, there is something I wanted to point out here as well, which was a data error on the part of the officer. You will see that there were 7 arrests indicated, or charges, I should say. It's not necessarily 8 individuals when it refers to arrests, it's charges. And 2 of these are for drugs or cocaine, 2 are for conspiracy, and 2 are for stolen property, receiving stolen property. Well, those came from the incident where it actually was a village case. I believe the officer must have populated it as the town accidentally, but we had a stolen gun out of the village. It then led us to an address in Enosburg where we executed a search warrant and recovered base cocaine and crack cocaine, cash, and multiple firearms, including the stolen gun.
Compliment, job well done up there, Chief.
Thank you. So, and that case is still somewhat ongoing, but in any case, that is why you see that data in this field here in the town report.
Chief, when you say drugs, cocaine sale, is that part of the Enosburg thing, or is that?
Yes, that's part of the Enosburg.
And the same with the conspiracy?
Yes. Yeah, so it was 2 individuals that received multiple charges.
Okay.
In that case. But I will add, there are addresses that the guys are looking at in the town also that they're aware of where distribution is occurring. So it is a problem, and it's interesting. We've received, through the course of multiple investigations, we're trying to sift through all the data we've accumulated, and it's amazing just how widespread the problem is.
Is there a nucleus in the town where we seem to see more crime than other parts of the town? Or is it just generally spread all over?
I would have to try to map that, and actually I want to say that the state is putting something out, which I need to look at to see, but a heat map essentially, where it's pulling the data from the whole state, because all of us are on the same CAT RMS system now, and they're charting that, so you should have access to that. I heard about this on the news. I know they've been trying to do this. And I know Crosswinds, the company, wants to again create this forward-facing portal for the general public to be able to pull data out of the system also. But the heat map is very interesting, and I will have to take a look at that.
Yeah, just curious, if it has to do with out-of-town ownership of housing or something that seems to promulgate some unfortunate activity.
Well, I can tell you that some of the drug-related incidents have been related to bed and breakfast properties in the town. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that these individuals, loosely affiliated groups from out of state are doing, is they're renting Airbnb and then they're operating out of that location.
I got online a while ago and I asked how many VRBOs or whatever you call them in Swanton. They came back with 150.
I don't know if that's.
Actually, they came back at it.
Yeah, wow, it seems like.
Now, I don't know if they took Swanton and they just took a broader reach with a paintbrush, but it came back at 150.
It is, I think it's just a radius, because I've also been looking at that information, and I know on Airbnb right now, I think there's 7 properties listed here in Swanton that have those on Airbnb, but I'm not sure about the other platforms.
We got 12 next to us, within less than a mile.
Wow.
I
I
knew
there was something down there, yeah.
I know we responded to one incident on McQuam Shore. There was an Airbnb, and then there was another incident up on Lakewood that we responded to in the town associated with an Airbnb.
For the most part, they're pretty quiet. They're just people on vacation, but
Yeah.
we got a lot of them.
And it's no fault to the owners of these properties either.
Yeah.
It's just something that's popped up.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming more popular.
Well, the thing is, you're on, so.
Yeah. So I do have something also that I know this group is interested in data also, and I created this for the trustees, the end of year report. I don't know if you want me to go through this or walk you through it, or you want me to share it offline, because it is quite a bit of data for the group to consume. So it's up to you really, as far as how you want to.
Matter to me. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, it may take me a little bit, so bear with me. But the Swanton Village Police Department handled a total call volume of 2,352 incidents in 2022. This was down approximately 18% from 2,884 in 2021. And I believe that this decrease in call volume is primarily due to the fact that we changed to the new CAT RMS system, and the nomenclature is different in the CAT RMS system. I also found out that some of the property checks in the old system were automatically populating to remind officers to go check those properties, which I think is a good idea, and so I need to look into that also to see if I can arrange for something like that to happen with this new system. But they informed me that when they would show up to work, they would already have incidents populated to do these property checks. But that's one of the main things, is that we didn't have a property check card. Although there are incidents called directed patrol, you'll see, I believe there were some from this month also. Yeah, there's 4 in the summary. And so initially, that's what we were using traditionally for what a property check was. But I believe that's really why the call volume is down that 18% compared to the year before. We responded to 1,307 incidents in the village and 725 incidents in the town. SVPD performed 401 traffic stops total, stopping 147 vehicles in the village, issuing 122 warnings and 49 tickets, and approximately 83% of the traffic stops in the village resulted in a warning, while 33% resulted in a ticket. Now you see there's some percentage bleed over as far as tickets and warnings go, and that's because one traffic stop may result in multiple tickets or multiple warnings issued for violations. SVPD stopped 195 vehicles in the town, issuing 153 warnings and 47 tickets. Approximately 78% of the stops in the town resulted in a warning, while 24% resulted in a ticket. So aggregating the data for the village and the town combined of 342 traffic stops yields SVPD issuing warnings in approximately 80% of traffic stops and tickets in 28% of traffic stops. And for the sake of comparison, I found it interesting that 401 traffic stops is one more traffic stop than the Burlington Police Department performed in the year 2022. SVPD wrote $29,604 worth of traffic tickets, with $11,721 worth of traffic tickets in the village and $13,807 in the town. Swanton Village police officers made 15 arrests for operation after suspension of revocation of license, commonly referred to DLS. There were 9 arrests for DLS in the village and 6 arrests for DLS in the town. We also made 16 driving under the influence arrests, commonly referred to as DUI, and there were 10 arrests for DUI in the village and 6 arrests for DUI in the town. Officers also made 1 arrest for DUI criminal food refusal, and 1 arrest for ignition interlock restricted license associated with traffic enforcement. Approximately 8% of traffic stops resulted in arrest, given the 401 traffic stop total, which results in 33 total arrests related to traffic stops. Race data associated with traffic stops, and this is something that is a big focus in Burlington as far as analyzing data, and really it started to spread out statewide as far as race data goes. But race data associated with traffic enforcement showed SVPD officers issued 298 warnings to white operators and 108 tickets to white operators. Operators may be issued, again, multiple warnings and/or tickets, so this does not necessarily reflect individual operator numbers. But the data indicates 26.6% of documented enforcement against white operators was tickets versus 73.4% warnings. SVPD stopped 2 black operators, issuing 1 operator 2 tickets, and the other operator received a warning. And this, because that data set is so small, I don't feel that it's really statistically significant anywhere. But again, some jurisdictions like Burlington use population data as a metric to attempt to determine if there's racial disparity in law enforcement, and then try to correlate that with if there's bias on any part of the officers. So Burlington uses census data to look at this, and also crash data. So crash data, I think, is probably a more pure view of the driving population, because essentially people should crash at more or less the same rate if they're involved in accidents, versus census data which I don't know is necessarily accurate. Depending on where you pull that data from, you'll get different numbers as far as census goes. Then the problem that I've always had with using census data is that law enforcement responds to behavior, right, regardless of race. We need reasonable suspicion that a traffic violation has occurred to initiate a traffic stop. We need probable cause to make an arrest. And so that's based on articulable fact, regardless of race. So I've always felt like that metric is flawed. And then if you're using that metric to try to determine whether or not there's some disparity and then ultimately bias, it may be off, right? Because law enforcement should never have a direct correlation with population data as far as interaction with the public. You know, we generally say in law enforcement that we probably interact with 5% or less of the population. The majority of the time we're engaged in law enforcement activity, and most people never have an interaction with law enforcement. But getting to, for the sake of comparison, essentially, in using race data or population data, one population data set that I found for Swanton indicates 94.8% of the population is white. And having said that, I realized this, that certainly if there was some number that was very skewed as far as disparity went in enforcement action, that would throw a red flag. And certainly there have been, when you take a deeper dive into the data sets, you can, I know Burlington at one point did it for each individual officer, and we're able to see which officers were, and generally speaking, the officers that were more aggressive as far as traffic enforcement go, or had more of an issue to some degree. But in any case, one data set that I found indicates that 94.8% of the population in Swanton is white, 1.1% is Hispanic, 0% black, which I know that number is off because within my first month, I had an enforcement encounter with an individual who I was familiar with from my time in Burlington. And we both recognized each other from our previous interactions. But 1.1% is American Indian or Native Indigenous is another term used, 0.7% Asian, 3.3% multiracial. Census data for Franklin County indicates 91.1% white, 0.7% black, 1% American Indian or Native Indigenous, 0.6% Asian, 0.6% other race, 5.9% multiracial. When using crash data specific to Swanton from 2022 as a measure of population, we find Swanton is 97.7% white, 1.2% black, 1.2% Native American or Native Indigenous, and there appears to be no disparity in traffic enforcement by Swanton officers when comparing the population data as a metric to our traffic enforcement. Moving on to arrests, Swanton Village Police Department officers made 157 arrests, and I would also caution, as I did in the overview of the month, that arrest really is charges. So again, it's not necessarily individuals, unique individuals. When I say 157 arrests over the course of 2022, approximately 7% of the incidents resulted in arrest. The 157 criminal charges represent 119 individuals. 83% were issued citations to appear in court. 7% were lodged, which means they ended up at a correctional facility, and 2% were requests for arrest warrants. 8% were arrests on court-ordered warrants, so a court officer already reviewed the affidavit and issued a warrant for their arrest. So it's something that comes up. I mean, 83% of arrestees were issued citations to appear in court. That is due to the fact that Vermont has a very complex criminal procedure, Rule 3, where we are only allowed to actually attempt to lodge people under very specific circumstances. So the majority of people, when they engage in criminal activity, are issued a citation, which is essentially an invitation to appear in court at a later date. Race data associated with arrests is as follows. Of the 119 total arrests, 113 were white, 2 black, 4 unknown. This yields 95% of arrestees were white, 1.6 black, and 3.3% unknown. There appears to be no racial disparity in arrests when using population data as the metric, again, in comparison to the arrest data. Moving on to use of force. SVPD officers used force in 20 incidents in 2022. Thus, officers used force, and when I say use of force, people have this tendency to imagine, maybe a great deal of force being used. The majority of incidents involve a very low level of force. Anything beyond compliant handcuffing requires officers to complete a use of force report. so that it's documented. So those all count, and again, the majority of them are very low level. Again, officers used force in 20 incidents in 2022. Thus, officers used force in 0.85% of the incidents they responded to, which is lower than the national average of 1.8% of incidents from a sample of 60 million police-civilian contacts. Race data indicates no bias on the part of SBP officers, as 2 of the individuals in the 20 incidents involved force on black people. The context of these incidents is also important. One incident involved a black male who was involved in a drug investigation. It did involve a motor vehicle stop, but it was an externally motivated stop because the officer set up, and after he heard direct conversations about drug activity in a residence, he surveilled the residence. When a vehicle left the residence, another officer followed the vehicle, found the vehicle was not maintaining its lane, and stopped the vehicle to investigate suspicion of DUI. In the course of that, the operator exited the vehicle and ended up running from the officers into a wooded area. Officers used a low level of force to detain the individual, and found that individual was found to be in possession of 115 grams of cocaine base and a large sum of money. The other incident involved an allegedly possible kidnapping, and a vehicle was stopped based on an accurate description of the vehicle leaving the immediate area. That incident was in the town. It was not during our normal patrol hours for the town, but we assisted Vermont State Police, who were responding to that incident. We did locate the vehicle and initiated a traffic stop based on the accurate vehicle description. And due to the nature of the allegations of possible kidnapping and weapons being involved, officers performed a high-risk motor vehicle stop that requires officers to point their firearms at the vehicle. And again, it's no discretion, right? Officers are trained to behave this way and engage in this sort of method when performing a high-risk motor vehicle stop, and it's really for both the safety of the officers and the occupants. Occupants of the vehicle are ordered out in a very controlled manner, one at a time, and then secured or detained temporarily in handcuffs, and so that that scene can then be controlled and secure. And in that particular incident, 3 of the occupants of the vehicle were black and 1 was white. Subject suffered minor injuries in 3 of the 20 use of force incidents, while officers also suffered minor injury in 2 of the 3 incidents where civilians suffered injuries. All 3 subjects who suffered minor injury were white. The context of these incidents were an intoxicated male involving domestic disturbance who threatened to shoot police with a compound bow and then fought with officers attempting to take him into custody. This was again an assist to Vermont State Police, where we were not primary on the call, but assisting their officers responding to that domestic. The second incident was a female subject who had an arrest warrant that was issued by the court and who resisted officers when they attempted to take her into custody. She ran from the officers, and both the officer and the subject fell to the ground, suffering minor injuries. And finally, an intoxicated male subject who resisted officers when they attempted to take him into protective custody during a domestic disturbance. As far as drug enforcement goes, Swanton Village Police Department executed 7 search warrants over the course of 2022. I should say drug and criminal enforcement. And recovering evidence related to drug trafficking, fraud, and property crime related to drug activity. The first search warrant was in the area of a known drug trafficking, but was related to an aggravated assault. Officers hit 2 apartments simultaneously with the assistance from DMV enforcement and Vermont State Police. Officers executed a search warrant at a residence. This is a different incident. At a residence concluding an 8-month-long fraud and identity theft investigation where the victim was defrauded of thousands of dollars over several months. The victim was a resident of the town, and where the search warrant was executed was in the village. This search warrant yielded evidence definitively linking the suspect to the crime. Officers also executed a search warrant in a different investigation related to a fraud case that was directly related to local drug activity. This search warrant yielded evidence definitively linking the suspect to the crime, and the suspect confessed when he was interviewed. Officers executed another search warrant at the same location based off observations of drug activity during the first search warrant. I will say that there was an egregious amount of drug paraphernalia in the residence that was observed during the first search warrant, and that directly led to the second search warrant. During the second search warrant, a male from Springfield, Massachusetts was arrested for distribution of cracker-based cocaine. Officers executed another search warrant. This is in a different investigation at the Europa Motel, locating evidence of fraud directly related to drug activity leading to an arrest in that investigation. And officers executed a search warrant on a vehicle after locating 115 grams of crack cocaine on an operator who has a history of distributing narcotics in Franklin County. I know also there's been many questions over the course of the year about the homicide that occurred on First Street. And so I am, again, very cautious to share information about this because it's a Vermont State Police investigation after we responded to the investigation preliminarily, and due to the apparent complex nature of the investigation, the Bureau of Criminal Investigations was called in. Vermont State Police took over the investigation, and the U.S. Attorney's Office is prosecuting the case. But there is some information that I can share involving this, and so I'm taking this information directly from the U.S. Attorney's Office press releases. Over several months, investigators continued to follow up on the case with the United States Attorney's Office, and District of Vermont issued a press release on January 11th, 2023, stating Dominic Troop, 36 of Colchester, was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to distribute cocaine base, 1 count of aiding and abetting the use of a firearm during and in relation to a drug conspiracy, 1 count of conspiring to commit a robbery of drugs and money by threat of force, and 1 count of possession with intent to distribute cocaine base. This press release goes on stating that the first 3 counts against Troop relate to the February 2nd, 22 shooting, death of Elijah Oliver in Swanton, Vermont. The United States asserts that Troop was the primary source of supply of crack cocaine being sold out of a residence on River Street in Swanton. That residence is in the town. And that Oliver was a rival drug dealer. Troop and others implemented a plan to carry out an armed robbery of Oliver, seeking to steal drugs and money, and during the attempted robbery, Oliver was shot and killed. On February 18th, 2022, the United States Attorney's Office, District of Vermont, returned indictments charging Jesse Seek, 26, and Eric Raymond, 31, both of Swanton, with unlawful possession of firearms. Sweet is charged with possessing a Ruger 308 rifle, while he was an unlawful user of controlled substances and having been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. Raymond is charged with possession of an Anderson Manufacturing, or AM-15 rifle, after having been convicted of a crime punishable by a term of imprisonment exceeding 1 year. On February 2nd, 2022, police observed Raymond driving an ATV toward the back portions of his Swanton residence. Police followed those tracks, which led to footprints, which led to a firearm below an abandoned vehicle. On March 14th, 2022, the United States Attorney's Office, District of Vermont, issued a press release stating Misty Lynn Marin, 42, of Swanton, Vermont, has been charged by criminal complaint in the United States District Court for the District of Vermont with being an unlawful user of controlled substance who possessed firearms. So those are just some of it shed some light on essentially that incident, the homicide incident, and the great work that that both our officers, quite frankly, did responding to a highly tense, uncertain situation initially, and then the great work of Vermont State Police investigations and the U.S. Attorney's Office following up on that incident.
Great job. Good information, thank you.
Very useful.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Health Officer Report, page 5.
The report provided is that of January 28th. And then she also included, well, after that page is an inspection complaint. Inspection
Good job. Very thorough.
You still good?
What's that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot to go through court to get it out of there. Yeah. Any questions on the health officer report? Good. Town business, update on the Watermelon Rail Trail, Swanton Rec Community Center, page 9.
I printed off the email that Joel Clark had sent me this morning. You can see the benefit of the camera. The LDRT, they're expecting to see the grant agreement shortly, possibly this week. The board has already authorized authorize myself to sign. In the meantime, we can start the selection process for design firms. State firms that are pre-qualified that we'd like to use. The process will only take a couple of weeks, and after the selection, we'll send them an RFP, which will give us the design cost and project timeline. On the rec and community center, drawings have been sent to estimators for their work. We should have something to review at the next board meeting.
Was this just an open request to design something, or did they have some specs that
They worked with the recreation board and the recreation chair, had a in-person site visit meeting discussing the things that the rec commission felt would be appropriate. We've also gathered information during several community meetings where we've gathered information from community members on what they'd like to see.
All right. We're good with that? ATV ordinance. I asked to have this put on the agenda because our ordinance we had for last year ran out in December. I'd like to propose that we continue with the ATV ordinance and actually open it year-round instead of just the summer months. There's other towns that have it year-round that don't seem to have any issue with it. I think it'd be simpler. I haven't heard a single complaint about ATVs this summer.
we've had some activity on our road, and it was perfect. They were courteous, they were only going, I don't know, 20 miles an hour or whatever, and they were sightseeing.
Yep.
You know, a couple of the things, and they were just going along in their own way.
Sure.
They're very, very well behaved.
You want a motion, Jim?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
All right.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. So that'll be,
So the only change is it's gonna be year round.
it'll be year round, we won't
The
have
hours.
the hours and everything will still be the same, and all the conditions, it just
So
year round.
basically, we just amend this ordinance and,
Do we have to go through the whole week process on that again?
I'll
or
have
is
to
it-
check that.
Okay. Yeah, because we already made the ordinance, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the section 6 that will change. But you want to leave the hours 7 AM.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
We're good. All right, thank you, folks. Oh. Well, I wrote C and I can't even remember, pretty bad.
Formal feasibility study.
Oh, yes, community center, or, yes.
I'd like to bring something up for discussion. Probably, I feel it's important for everyone to know that I'm fully in support of this community rec center, and I think it's probably a great idea, but one of the concerns I have when we look at an expenditure of what this could be is a feasibility study that really should be done by a third party that takes into consideration all of the sources of income that we project we're gonna get, a really deep dive on the expenses, so that we can try to put our hands around what we think the net cost is gonna be to our taxpayers. After the new income stream comes on board, more consideration for staffing, I think we're gonna need probably 2 or 3 people. We're gonna need a business development director for sales. The fact that we're competing with St. Albans, town and city, we're competing with Highgate and whoever else may be around. I'm not sure, I don't even know how much money we're gonna have to generate. And I'd like to see someone establish what we would realize as a profit margin between the services that we expect to generate and the expenses that we expect to incur. Just to give you an example, $1 million bond would cost us $75,000 a year for 20 years. And that's, I used a municipal rate that would probably become effective based on where prime is. That's $75,000 that we're gonna have to pay a lender. If it's $2 million, it's $150,000. That's brand new money that we're gonna have to spend. So we should be able to factor any debt service on a bond or whatever into the annual expenses that we would incur. I haven't seen that, and in normal business, anytime you take on a loan request such as this, you underwrite it. And I haven't seen, I saw a paper that came in from Mrs. Fortune. I mean, she made a pretty good stab at it. I mean, she gave us the level way up here.
Yeah.
It was a good start. It's a good discussion point. I'd like to entertain that Brian send out an RFP. There's got to be organizations that can provide this service for us, looking at our demographics, everything. And because what if we get halfway through this and we've spent all the money that we've committed to, which is engineering and design and now some more design money, we find out we just can't afford this thing. Or it's too much to add to taxpayers at this point. You know, we have some real issues with taxes here. We have a lot of elderly, and before long, when the legislature gets done with us, they're gonna have trouble whether eating, getting the medication, or staying warm, and other things. I'm very conscious of adding additional taxes to anyone, any property owner. So in my thought process, I don't know how long this RFP would take to be awarded, and I'm not sure how long it would take an organization to perform this. But my concern is we're continuing to spend money, and we're not sure on paper that this thing's gonna fly. Now, if we find out at the end of the day, it's gonna cost the taxpayers net of the income and the expenses based on a nominal profit margin, say it's gonna cost the taxpayers $200,000 a year. That's a big jump on top of the rec budget. I think the rec department does a great job bringing in income, and we can see that it far exceeds their expenses, and that's why they have the reserve account. But we're going into a whole different sphere here now. And continuing to spend money before we know the answer is not a wise decision. So the second part of my topic for discussion is, should we halt all expenses right now until we get this thing back in shape, so we get our hands on it, as we would do with any normal business venture.
Where are we now?
That would be my question. Where, with the
Why are we done?
Cross
At this point in time, Cross is,
Has come in and done the preliminary meetings with us. They've done a concept, and now they're waiting to see what actual architectural costs would be for the building, based upon the concept taken from all the information.
so when they get done, they will not have a cost of the building, just what it's gonna cost to design it. Is that correct, or?
No, I think you're gonna have a cost of what it's gonna cost to build.
It'll be an estimated,
So
An
we'll have,
estimated, yes.
Yeah.
but how much is that costing us, Nicole? You know?
I don't.
Well, the whole thing was 107,000 complete for the whole,
That was-
oversee
that
the whole
was
project,
cost.
but
yeah.
yes.
And how much have we spent of that 107,000 at this point?
Have we got any bills yet for it, or?
Just a small bills, not
Yeah.
too much.
No. It's just mostly preliminary stuff they're doing right now.
So my question is, should we continue to spend money on preliminary stuff
Yeah.
until we have a really good underwritten, well underwritten, independent, third-party feasibility study? That's my question. So it's kind of a two-part.
I would say we've already got contracted them to do the preliminary study of what it's gonna cost to build it and stuff, that, let them finish that. But as far as design and the rest of it, you know, wait to move forward with that till we get that piece done, it would make more sense to me. I mean, we gotta have some idea what it's gonna cost, so we gotta start somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
I think your point's well taken, because I think Joel said this could cost us about $2.5 million. Well, that's almost 200,000 a year in annual debt service. And he might be right. You look at the construction costs, and just the infrastructure costs. So, yeah, we really gotta bite this thing hard. So we've allocated 107,000. Say, should we?
Hold on a minute, Steve, didn't you approve some additional expense?
We did after that. Did it go to 124,000?
It was approved, an additional amount was approved over the original amount.
Yeah.
Now, it's all coming out of the 600,000 that was approved.
But I understand that, but that doesn't make it any easier for me to
No.
swallow this.
Yeah.
It's somebody's money,
Oh, yeah.
and we're using it when it's really the town, so.
No.
So I guess we got a major decision. Shall we continue to spend money, and second, should we have a feasibility study? Probably gonna cost us 20 grand to get a good
Probably.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be surprised.
I'd like to have then we're gonna have our eyes wide open as we.
Steve, the point you're bringing up is very good, because if this does happen and it gets to the point where it's gonna go before the voters, we're gonna need that kind of information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we don't have much right now.
Well, the bond market would also probably require some sort of,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're loaning money on something that they
Yeah.
want to make sure is going to.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
probably would go to a bank, seek financing, and then go to the bond market for us, maybe we go directly. We might
So-
use a state agency, but that
Yeah.
information would be required.
How about we solicit a couple firms to give us a price on what it costs to do this? I don't know where to start with a firm that would do it, but,
I don't either. but-
Well, that's what Google is for.
yeah,
Yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
Googling, I'm
yeah,
sure between here and Burlington.
Yeah, at
there's
least a
firms.
couple, so we get some kind of idea of a price.
So you might get a CPA that has, in that particular office, that has a branch that does feasibility
Yeah,
studies.
yeah.
I mean, Jeff Carr does them. He's the state advisor, economic advisor, but somebody I think would step forward.
Mhm. So let's see what it'll cost, and then we'll come back and decide on the
Yeah,
amount.
sure.
I think that'd be the best bet.
But no more
Yeah,
spending, other than maybe the bills that are due,
yeah.
and then we
Let's,
just cut.
let's ask where Cross is at with the engineering right now. I mean, I don't wanna cut them off in their tracks if they're in the middle
Oh,
of something.
no, they've been very good to work with.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
So
Right,
let's-
well,
Let's find out where they're at and just tell them that we wanna do this, and so we don't wanna go into it too deep.
You know, we do have a contract with them. I assume we would have signed some kind of contract with Cross Consulting to do this.
Did you sign a contract with them? No.
We had an
So-
agreement of some type.
Yeah.
We do have.
Yeah.
And we're not saying we're not gonna do it, but we just wanna do
Postpone.
this before we finish that.
Well, I would suggest that, because this, you know, maybe if we were gonna do this, we should have had somebody here from the rec commission too,
Mhm.
so that they understand what, you know,
Yeah.
what we're talking about, what, you know, what we're trying to do.
We do have somebody from rec.
Well, we do have Nicole.
Right, but I
Not
work for a
board
board of individuals, and
Yeah.
one board chair should be present.
Yeah. And it's certainly not that we're trying to stop a process,
No.
we're all for it. It's
No, no,
just
I-
we wanna make sure we got our ducks in a row.
I understand,
Yeah.
I mean, any data collected would be useful in helping to find grant money to cut that cost for the taxpayers.
So do you mind having a conversation with Joel and ask Joel where, I mean, Joel seems to be spearheading it with the cross engineering part of it.
With Cross, correct.
Ask them where they're at
Yeah.
and if, you know, so that, you know, and just tell them what we wanna do and, you know, it kinda makes sense that we don't wanna stop them in the middle of doing something that we were told to do, so.
Now, the other issue would be, if we do this, the feasibility study, is that money gonna come out of the 600,000?
Sure. I mean, that's part of it.
I mean,
Because that's gonna have to come from somewhere.
yeah,
I would think it's money well spent
yeah.
to guarantee that we put this
Mhm.
ARPA, what the hell is the name of that stuff?
ARPA funds.
ARPA funds, to good use. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the money to do that. So I'd make that motion if it wouldn't be too lengthy.
Okay, so you're making a motion that we solicit a couple firms for estimates on feasibility study?
That we conduct a feasibility study, we get
Yeah,
a few bids, and then
Yeah.
we take a look at all of our expenses to see if we can curtail any more expenditures until we get the study back.
Okay.
And I'm sure Cross has lined up his work schedule,
yeah,
but they're pretty good to work with. They'll probably understand. They can allocate their resources somewhere else
Yeah.
for a while.
okay. Someone want to second that?
I second it.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Ayes have it.
I
Thank you, Steve's making that
When it
up.
comes to rec things. If you could please just CC Betsy or forward information to Betsy to
Yeah.
make sure she's aware as well.
Yep. Yep, sounds good.
And don't take away from the fact that she did a, you know, good
No,
starting
understandable.
point, you know.
No, but I think both Betsy and Joel probably need to realize that we're gonna have to do this. in order to find out where we are,
Yeah.
and in order to get people to support it if it's feasible.
Yeah, I can see a public meeting being held, so that we can sell this to the voters before they vote. An informational meeting of some type, so we have to have this.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Appointment of Amy Giroux to zoning administrator for 3 more years. Sure you up for that? 3 more years?
Bring it on.
Oh, page 14.
Is this an interview?
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it's
Questions? Really?
Why would you wanna do it?
She loves it.
Because I like helping people and that's what I do.
There we go. There. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move.
All right, that was quick. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
Send acceptance.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Keep up the good work.
Probably wouldn't, it's not a job a lot of people want, so, we appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Friends of Northern Lake Champlain presentation, Swanton Beach Stormwater Project. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Very good.
That's good.
Thank you for having me up tonight.
Thank you for coming.
All right, my name is Kent Henderson. I'm the chair of the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain. A lot of familiar faces around the table. As you know, the Friends has been working for almost 20 years now around the northern arm of Lake Champlain. We've been bringing water quality projects to the area and doing outreach and advocacy work. And we've been very active in the town of Swanton. And we also received an appropriation that I wanted to thank the town for. It's really important to our work. We've got a part-time staff, and every dollar we bring in counts. So I'll be introducing the project to you tonight. On the screen you will see in the upper left-hand corner is Parker Eversole. He is our assistant project coordinator. Parker is an AmeriCorps member and is provided to us by DEC, by the ECO program. And then in the upper right hand is Carrie Garvey. Carrie is with the engineering firm that came up with the 30% design for this project that we're going to describe to you tonight. I'll go back in history a little bit.
Yeah, before you go on, I got one question.
Yep.
Now, you have people that join the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain.
Yep.
And they pay a due every year that helps your project?
Sure, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd just like to put this out right now. There are a lot of people concerned about water quality along Palm Shore, and I think this organization is the best chance we got of seeing improvement. And I would urge them to become members.
Well, I thank you very much for your support, Earl. We need all we can get. We have great businesses that support us. We have great individuals that support us, but we are putting this money to work.
Yeah.
In the last year, we're administering around $700,000 in state and federal grants. And that's on a budget. That's our operating budget is barely $60,000. So I think that we're returning a pretty good product for the amount of money that we have to work with on that. Thank you very much for
The thing is, the more members you have, the stronger political clout you have.
We've tried to have a voice as we've gone on. Brian has always been a great ally, especially back around 2015 when we got the Clean Water Act passed. We were a lot more involved in advocacy work at that time. Now we've got funds. I'm sitting on 3 of the clean water service provider basin councils that are all doing work in this area. The grant that we're talking about tonight is from the Lake Champlain Basin Program. The monies from the Basin Quality Councils is not available yet, so we went ahead and we got financing from Lake Champlain Basin Program to do this project. In 2013, the Friends with Stone Environmental wrote up the stormwater master plan, or management plan for the town of Swanton. And there have been projects that have gone in. I worked with Reggie Belleville more so with the village, but the intersection that you go through when you leave here and go back out onto Route 7, that was work that Reggie and Denise Smith did together through the Work with Friends, is an example of the sort of project that we have done in the past. We've kept an eye on that master plan and where we can do projects and come in, but an area that we neglected was along the shoreline. That wasn't part of our original plan, so in 2021, we contracted Watershed Consulting Associates, of whom Carrie Garvey is our representative, and she's here tonight. And they did an assessment of the shoreline and properties, not properties, but especially in the town right of way, and came up, there were actually 65 areas along the shoreline roads where we could recommend improvements, and that will be there as the town wants to move ahead and work on infiltrating stormwater rather than have it go in the lake. We had 5 areas that we came up with that we considered to do a 30% design on, that would go on to do a full design and implementation, which means we would put in the BMPs. And we put this out to the community. We had a couple of outreach events. We took a lot of community input on it. The area that we settled on to do the 30% design was at the town beach. It's a visible area. It's not a large area. There's not a lot of, it's not a huge win for keeping a lot of pounds of phosphorus out of the lake, but it is a highly visible area. And if we can put in BMPs there, and what we're talking about is putting in a rain garden at the town beach, and so we've talked to the trustees about that since that is their property, and then we're talking to you tonight especially because we're talking about a sand filter that would be put in around the junction of the Shore Road and the Lasnier Road?
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, you gotta understand, I grew up in the Midwest, so my pronunciation isn't always that good on the French derived words. So anyway, so that's the area that we talked to you about, and what will happen is Parker will describe to you our work plan and what we're going to do, but part of it will be doing permitting, because we are close to the lake shore, and that's something that we will do with our engineering firm. And then, but then at some point we'll talk about operation and maintenance contract. And we're thinking that's something that the town is probably already equipped to do. You know, these are not real high-tech best management practices we're putting in, but that's something that we would come back and talk to you about later. So that's just the overview. We've got $44,000. We're gonna do a full design. That's gonna happen this year. A year from now, we'll be contacting contractors, and then hopefully the summer of 2024, you'll actually see the BMPs go into place. So I'm just supposed to give an overview. Parker, would you like to step in now and give some more of the specifics about the work plan?
Yeah, can everybody hear me all right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you for having us tonight, and thank you, Kent, for that overview. We just presented to the village last week, so Kent definitely picked up some of the things we talked about last time and gave a really good overview. But just a little bit into the details, which Carrie can also jump in and help me out with. But so there's 2 separate practices, as we've mentioned. One is an under drain bioretention system, which is at the south of the parking area. And then there's a roadside sand filter, which is right along the road there, along Shore Road and Lasnier Road. And so that would treat water before it discharges, mainly water running off from the road, but also that runs down the road from residences and wherever else the road's coming from. And it would treat that, let water kind of sit in there and go through sand, slow down water, and then it will discharge out into the stream. And the idea is that there's less phosphorus in that water that will go directly towards the lake. And so in total, both of the projects will treat over 1/2 acre of impervious surface, which results in just over 1,000 cubic feet of stormwater managed on an annual basis. And this will prevent just under a pound of phosphorus from entering the lake. And it may not seem like a big number to you guys, but it's this is water that we can pretty confidently say is going to make it to the lake. So the impact being right near the lake is really significant. We also plan to have a...
Just to note, Parker, that's annually.
Correct, thank you. And this is typically a 15 to 20 year, the project, and the BMP will last typically 15 to 20 years, but with good maintenance could be longer. And so we also have plans to install a sign to share what we've done and kind of the different practices that are going on at the beach. And so the hope with that is that people will read it and see it and kind of understand how these green stormwater projects can help the lake, and maybe they can push for one near their home or near other areas around. So just, even if it's just under a pound per year of phosphorus, we can still, multiply that if other people can think about installing or pushing for these similar practices. So as Ken mentioned, we have funding for around $44,000, and that's for the final design. So right now we have 30% designs, which I believe Ken just shared with you there. And that will also include the implementation and construction of both of the BMPs. We're hoping to have the final design done by September of 2023 this year. And then construction will begin in July of 2024. With everything wrapped up, or actually finished construction by July 2024, and have the sign and everything in place by August of 24. And so a little bit about the operations and maintenance. This is something that is kind of, we hope to get sorted out once we're past getting the 100% design, final design set up. And it really requires, for the first 3 months, kind of checking on it, making sure that everything drains out of these systems. They should drain almost entirely in the first 48 hours. And if that's not happening, we will maintain, we'll kind of make sure that sand isn't clogging it up, leaves, animals, other critters. It also requires some mowing around the outlet, depending on which system we're talking about, which can be up to every month. And then we just make sure that there aren't invasives growing in there, that there aren't a lot of bare spots, and that there's vegetation around, because that really, the new vegetation in there helps remove the phosphorus as well as just draining through sand and other media. But it doesn't require a lot of large machinery once it's installed to maintain and operate. A lot of it can be done with shovels and just kind of hand tools. So that's a big benefit of these, is they're not super sophisticated practices, but we like to call them more of like nature-based solutions that just having plants in there and sand can help filter out a lot of water. So yeah, if you have any questions about the project, we'd love to answer them. Really excited about this and have a public-facing project. We try to focus on helping public areas that's going to impact a lot of people, rather than kind of a singular homeowner or something else like that. So this is a great chance for that.
Carrie, did you have anything that you wanted to help us wrap up with that Parker or I may have overlooked?
Just really one thing to add is that, so what was done so far is the 30% design, which is sort of that conceptual, making sure that the practice can function, knowing how things are routed. And then during those subsequent design phases, when we are talking about operations and maintenance, some of these practices can be customized based on how much you want to maintain it, essentially. So the selection of plants, for example, can be tailored to the site. So what you might want to see, whether it's aesthetic or maintenance reasons. And then the sand filter, we generally recommend just native grasses, which would sort of blend in with what's already there, since it is sort of that roadside area. So that's definitely a conversation that we would have during the final design phase to make sure that everyone's on board with the expected maintenance of the systems.
Is all this gonna take place within the town right away?
So that's just the sand filter portion of the BMP. The bow retention system is just south of the parking lot, right by the structure, right near the structure that's there at the town beach.
So that's on village property then, basically, so.
But the sand filter would be along the farm shore.
The sand filter is it's where the Laskner Road meets.
Yeah,
It's right around, it's on the corner.
yeah,
It's right on the corner.
makes sense, yeah.
Because the village operates and maintains the actual park or the actual beach, correct?
They own it.
That's right. Yeah.
Do we need a motion, Mr. Chair, to bring this forward, or is this an informational?
It's just informational, I believe.
At this point, it's just information.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do this
Yeah.
a while ago. We know how busy you folks have been on budgeting and that sort of thing, so we're
Yeah.
happy we got a chance to bring it to your attention today.
I just have one question for all of you. So after you've done this project, how will this indirectly help with the blue-green algae and the milfoil? There we go.
Nitrogen, or excuse me, phosphorus is the limiting nutrient
Yeah.
in the blue-green algal cycle, the life cycle. That's what we've been working on for 20 years now, is stopping the non-point source runoff of phosphorus into Lake Champlain that feeds those blooms.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of work with farms, and you go on with these good conservation farms, and their practices are costing, $100,000 a year when you consider all their equipment, all the structures they've built, everything they put into it. They're holding out, tens and hundreds of pounds of phosphorus. And what we're trying to do is to have an idea that this is an all-in effort. So the farming community step forward in doing things. The municipal roads and V-Trans, they're beginning to step up and do things. And so we try to give things that residents can do. Because this rain garden that you're looking at, if you look at the budget, our budget numbers there, the construction numbers, it's 24,000 in construction costs for both of these. And that's not in the engineering, costs in that, in a project like this, where we're using, public funds to do it. We've got more engineering requirements to do that than what an individual would have. But the idea is to get out there and do some of these demo projects. Because, the lake shore is owned, like, it's up to 90% is privately owned. So it's not like government is gonna solve this problem on the shoreline. It's gonna take individuals' efforts, and what people are lacking is knowledge. That's what we found. Last summer, we had a shoreline social at the town beach. We had 40 or 50 people come out, and we taught about what they could do on their residences. We did that at 4 town beaches around last year. We've applied to do it around 3 more this year. And that's what Earl was saying, is what we do, is we do the educational part, because we know that a lot of people want to do this on their own, and they're not expecting the government hand to do it, so. But no, 1 pound, and you know, like in the Siskiyou Bay, the EPA is expecting us to, I think it's like 27 tons that we're supposed to reduce. I mean, it's a huge problem, and you just tackle it one project at a time.
Yeah, okay. Well, good, thank you for the information. Sure.
Thank you
for coming out.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Have a good night.
Okay, we'll be back as we get further into it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, State of Vermont, Highgate Road, Mr. Jacques LaRose. How do you pronounce it?
Jacques.
Jacques, okay.
Real Frenchman.
I was gonna say the true Frenchman.
Right. And listen, I am joined here by B-Trans. So I work for Civil Engineering Associates. I'm the engineer for B-Trans. We have the project manager, Brad McCoy, he's on Zoom.
Okay.
And we also have District 8 Garage, Jordan.
Yep.
General manager of the district.
Yeah. Lucky you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I spoke with, 2 weeks ago, I spoke with Amy first, she directed me to Brian,
Yep.
and essentially, the District 8, V-Trans wants to relocate their District 8 garage from Lower Newton Street to
Where's that?
Swanton, just north of the interstate here.
It's different.
Access
Yep.
is from a Class 4 road
Yep.
that we were anticipating improving. I have spoke.
Well, I asked you to come here today.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
issue,
So,
Yep.
and I have spoke with the fire department. You know, essentially their request was,
Yeah.
you know, widen the road so
Yeah.
in the event of a fire, we could have a fire truck pass
Yeah.
along with snow plow or snow truck, basically getting out of
Yeah.
the project site if there happened to be a fire.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm thinking, we don't have it on the plans yet, but we're thinking about a 20-foot wide road, from Bushy Road to the project site.
Yeah.
So one of the interesting things about this
Is it-
project,
Isn't A16, 76 standard 22 foot?
excuse me,
Isn't A76 standard 22 foot?
well, that's part of why we're here.
Yeah.
Is to talk, so it all depends on what you guys really.
Yeah. Well, our biggest concern is the intersection, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
That's a disaster right there.
Sure.
Adding trucks and traffic, mega trucks in and out of there. That's a very dangerous intersection, so.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Something's gonna have to
address
be
that issue
redesigned there,
somehow, something.
Yeah, so obviously the challenge we have is we don't own any of the right of way. You know, we don't own Bushy Road or
Yeah.
the town route, you know, Class 4 road.
I understand
Yeah.
You know, they're
And
obviously.
this was brought up years back when Montague's owned all that came to us, and we told them basically they were gonna have to bring the road over here and bring it down on 207 because to get away from that intersection. We had great discussions with him about that.
So does Montaigne does he own the property to the north?
They own all the way up to the road in front of where your garage is proposed.
Correct.
Yeah.
How about on the north side along Bush? So
No,
maybe I didn't see
they don't
it.
own it on the other
I
side.
figured
so-
where you were thinking of.
This is your
relocating.
proposed garage?
Correct.
Yeah. Originally, we looked at, there's a house on the corner here, we looked at bringing the road out over here,
Okay.
away from this intersection. Because this is owned by somebody else over here. So, I mean, you couldn't even if you brought it out here, get away from there.
Interesting.
That's just a disaster waiting to happen, because you got all the cars speeding off 207, turning, taking that corner, coming on
Absolutely.
to Bushy Road. So I don't know how that problem can be resolved, but we certainly can't have all that traffic coming out there in that intersection. It's gonna be a disaster for you guys trying to come out of there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Brad has already had input on this.
Yeah, I don't know, I'd rather just hear from anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, Jordan, are you on the meeting tonight as well, or?
Yeah, I'm just kicking in the background here.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
So-
ready.
So realistically, there's actually 6 trucks that will be operating out of that garage on a full-time basis.
What he said.
Jordan can speak to operating hours and go into that a little more.
So operating hours are 7 to 3:30 and snow and ice control anywhere between 4 AM and 8 PM with trucks going slightly in and out throughout the night. But I think the other concern is the salt trucks, Brad, with the tractor trailers coming in and out of our yard.
That's part of it, but you gotta realize that, you know, you're starting to develop an area that's probably gonna see more development. You know, it's basically a future growth area.
Yep.
So, you know, really has to be considered here about doing something. Now, it's not to say that the town would not be part of the solution, but we need to do something.
So has the town done any studies to date on this intersection?
No,
No.
no.
So you don't know?
I can't remember, it's probably been all of 5 or 6 years since we had the discussion with them, because they came to us and they actually wanted the town to put a road down in there, and said, the town's not gonna spend money on a private property to put a road in. Yeah. And
Brad,
that's when the whole discussion started about moving that road over on the other side so it was safer.
Brad, nobody has brought this up so far.
No.
Okay, because
Yeah.
it can be a
I
sketchy
mean, it's not, even- I mean,
intersection.
it's a
and
class 4 road that we don't even maintain, that you're building on,
Yeah,
so.
that's Shoalin Road, right?
It's not even, you can call it Shoalin Road, it's not even really labeled Shoalin Road on that end.
Right. It goes to the railroad tracks.
Because up until about 5 years ago, that road never even went through to the other end, it was all discontinued.
Yeah.
It went to the broken stop,
You'll have to pick 3 possible names.
yeah.
That's the policy.
Right.
And this
But
board
that-
will decide.
That's one issue, the Shoalin Road, but the other issue is that corner, the
Yeah.
junction of
Yeah.
Bushy Road and 207. And it's been an issue, it's a high traffic incident area. That there's record, you know, the record will show that.
Yeah.
Brad, I think we're gonna have to talk to traffic safety, maybe get a traffic study on, if we're gonna be adding more traffic to it. It is a bad intersection,
What's that?
no matter what you're driving.
That's
And
proposed.
it's gonna create issues, but it sounds like the town's definitely working with us, and we can make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with the project, it just, we need to make that intersection safe.
Oh, it's not a comfortable
It's-
intersection.
It's not, whether it means reconstructing that road to a T, to stop the traffic from just swinging onto that road, whatever.
Because if you wanted us to like revamp Shoalin Road and come out in 207,
Yeah.
that's putting another intersection right next to another intersection.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
Answer.
So, I mean, I'm not the engineer, you are, so.
Right.
No, so even if we brought Bushy Road to a Hammerhead, teed it, and stop, I mean, it's the only sucky part, it's gonna slow the traffic, comes on and off that road with that.
So I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, the main thought is,
Yeah.
it sounds like, so I know that V-Trans purchased the property
Yeah.
from Montaigne.
Yeah,
So obviously, they would be an interested party, if
Yeah.
relocating, you know, putting a road through property that currently they own.
yeah,
So they should certainly be part of the discussion, since they're in control of that
Yeah.
today. And I don't know, you know, the question is, yeah, who's, well, we can do all kinds of things. We could do like a draft, like you said, study the intersect. You guys, the question is who is gonna study it? Okay, so like I'm not a traffic engineer, so, you know, I don't design highway lights and things like that, but, you know, certainly study
I don't
how to
remember.
improve that particular intersection, you know, should be addressed if, I suppose, if that no development can essentially happen until that's been addressed. I mean, I think that's my main concern is if they can't do anything, which, you know, when I say anything, I mean, my understanding from Brad is infrastructure would be ideal first, you know, if they wanna get water to the
and
site.
that's where we had that discussion years ago with the landowners, and they were talking about developing this. You gotta do something with that intersection.
Right.
Yeah. So it's only gonna add, now that you bought this, it's only gonna add more. So more truck traffic, more traffic for other people buying land down there, develop it.
So we have folks that can do that study and throw ideas at the project management to take care of that. Am I wrong, Brad?
No, we can certainly look at what the impact might be as far as traffic goes. I will say that we want to try to at least get design plans out this year, to at least get the water line in, some of the underground utilities in, and try to get this project moving. The intersection obviously is going to have some impact down the road. I will try to get communications going on that as soon as we can. Legislature's pretty heavily involved in this project, as you may know, for this year. We have had discussions with House and Senate Transportation regarding budgets and timelines and that kind of thing, so.
So that means if legislatures.
As Jordan can speak to, I mean, the traffic impact to the current downtown St. Albans is pretty significant compared to this site, so.
So that means if the legislature's involved, they should be able to help find some money to fix this intersection, right?
Well, I would like to think so, but that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And another thing is, if you're going, I don't think you really need to do a study of that intersection. We know it's bad. You'll see numbers, but I think you ought, if your schedule is, you know, you wanna move that fast, and you should come up with some kind of design, possible design, and what it's gonna take, you know, what land is gonna be needed in order to do it. That would speed the whole process up. It's gotta be done, so, you know, that would be a better way to spend the money.
Yeah.
I know what you mean about the design, but that's what they do to engineer those intersections. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
On state highway intersections.
Yeah.
And the speed is a factor, traffic volumes, so
Yeah,
on.
and I can check with the road commissioner, road foreman before me, or commissioner that was involved in this when I was on the board, and I don't remember if we did any study when we talked about that, and if they did traffic study or not.
Yeah, it'll be something that, it's, you know,
Yeah.
207
Yeah.
aligns with it too, so they're the ones that come up with a plan to
Yeah.
fix it if there is an issue.
But, I mean,
207 is a state road.
it is a state road,
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
Well, we got, I know we've counted the cars on the Bushy Road, and it's thousands of cars a day going on that Bushy Road, so.
Yeah, when one gets paved, the traffic count goes up from one to the other.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
They're not gonna use 207 right now, you just pave Bushy.
yeah. No, certainly, so you guys bring in,
I think it'll be difficult to determine what the future expansion for the property that we bought from, how that's gonna be developed in the future, and what that traffic impact may be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the study will be, you know, kind of based on what the V-Trans impact is gonna be on the initial build-out, and what that flow would look like. You know, future development's gonna be pretty tough to determine.
yeah,
Where it's happening down there.
what's that?
The development along the Bushy Road is
Oh, yeah,
full speed ahead.
oh, yeah, it is, yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
How many acres did you have? Was it 18 or 19 acres?
18 acres.
18.
Acres, yeah. No, so you guys are bringing water and sewer in from St. Albans, is that what it says?
They'll be bringing water.
Oh, just water, yeah,
And then on-site sewer.
on-site sewer, yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure can.
Okay,
Yeah.
the question was, I think, raised in my office. But, okay, so things progress, we come up with a solution for Highway 37. Once you've improved it, is the town going to retain ownership of that, or is the state? How have we figured out what we're going to do with that?
Another discussion.
Who's going to take care of that?
Who's gonna maintain that?
Point at Brad for that one possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys obviously own the road, but
I mean, I would say we would maintain access from our access drive over to, you know, at least over to Bushy and 207.
Okay.
Beyond the other direction, I would probably say no.
Yeah.
All right, the other question would be along that line, if there's future development in back of your garage, are we gonna be able to access that road? We do own it, we'd have to still have that right to access
Yeah,
that
we-
road.
I don't think the town should give up the right to that road
Won't we
anyways.
give you an easement?
Right, we have plenty of other garages on town roads.
Yeah. No.
throughout the district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, we come up with a solution to, for the traffic coming on that intersection.
Brad, you hear that?
Did not catch that last
Yeah,
part.
we're gonna have to come up with a solution about the traffic coming on, with that road coming on, Bushy Road and 207. Yeah, it's gonna have to be resolved before you can move too forward.
And
Yeah, well, we can certainly start talking with our traffic engineers within the highway division on that and what that study looks like. But like I said, it's gonna be tough to determine flow of traffic out the road that we're improving onto 207 and Bushy Road. So, and Jock, you know that obviously we have to improve the access out there. I don't think as far as AOT accessing that road, we're not inducing a lot of additional traffic.
But it's just the point of the trucks coming in and out onto that intersection, whether it's 1 or 10, it's a very dangerous intersection.
It needs to be, yeah, we certainly have to improve access, yes, absolutely.
Is this road deadhead somewhere, or is it to go right through
It does go all the way through to 105.
It does?
Yeah, it does. Up until about 5 years ago, it didn't, but the farmers fixed it up.
Like a
gravel,
rough ride.
gravel's
Yeah, I was
always
gonna say.
down, but it used to stop in.
But it could be open for future development.
yeah.
Yes, well, all that land all the way down through there is for sale, so that's part of the southern growth district, so. All right, any other questions?
So what did we decide?
Well, to me, it sounds like access will not be coming off of the town highway, it'll be coming off V-Trans in the end, right? So, right, if we're going 207
Yeah.
with this intersection, we'll end up basically working with V-Trans to get that connection. It's just a matter of who owns the road.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys want to own the road, and just we're gonna work that out, and then who maintains it. Sounds like, and I think from my reading of the zoning regulations, essentially class 4 road users gotta be maintaining it. So user here is the district, district garage. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it could get changed to a different class road in the future, but for now, I mean, it'll stay class 4.
Okay.
But would we accept anything other than an easement?
Well, we're still gonna own the road
That's what I
regardless.
mean, yeah.
So it'll still be a class 4 road to us. It's our road.
No ownership.
Yeah,
You're not
no,
gonna give
they'll
up
have to
ownership.
fix it to use it, but,
Okay.
yeah. So basically,
Yeah, so we are
a
gonna,
solution.
yeah, we're gonna have to find a solution. We'll be getting stormwater permits for this and, any other necessary permits. There's no Act 250 on this project, but, there's definitely wetlands out here. So that is my, I can't tell much about wetlands this time of year.
Yeah.
Under a foot of snow, but, we have plans to go back and look at more wetlands originally along this town highway. And we were gonna be widening it, and there's some mapping that's shown on the state maps. So, it sounds like we're gonna expand that investigation out into the field here and see what's actually usable, because it seems like a lot of that cornfield's actually pretty darn wet. That's probably why nobody's developed it for the most part. So we got the upland portion, so that's the good part here.
Yeah.
But
Prior converted,
Yeah,
there's a lot of drainage in there.
yeah.
It's not really that wet, unless you get down next to the ditches and stuff.
sure. Okay. All right.
So,
Thanks, guys.
if you wanna come up with something, come back to us and we'll go from there.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
No, thank you for coming to us, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
That's the one that just sold for $500,000.
Yeah, that's just a portion of the 300 something right there.
He might be on that side of
Montana owns all the right hand side. Yeah. 207 all the way back.
The only guy on the call was like a shooting dollars and so.
Yeah,
the road. Somebody else's.
yeah.
So he owns, you got town highway 37.
All that.
He owns all of this back to 105.
Yeah.
No, just to the rail trail. It stops at the rail trail way down at the back.
Okay.
Yeah, but what about the remaining portion, there's a showing road on the other side off 105?
Yeah,
That's town road.
That's town road.
And it ends there at the farm.
Ends at the farm, yeah.
And everything
But there's
from
a
the
side
farm
road.
to the rail trail
The rail
has been
trail.
given up? Has it
Yeah.
been it has been given
It
up?
never was, I don't know, there was never a road.
If it was never given up, that still belongs to the town.
But I think the
I don't know,
development
but
rights were sold off of.
If you go down,
You can drive all the way.
you can only because the farmer fixed it up.
Yeah, but it
Probably
it
previous
used
to
be.
about 7-8 years
Right.
ago, you couldn't,
That's
you only had to
right.
stop
But
at
at
the road.
one time, that road did go.
At one time, eons ago.
So if
Yeah.
the town didn't give up that right of way on the farm, then it still has, it still belongs
Like,
to the
isn't all that
town.
land, you got the Shoreland Road and you look back towards St. Albans, which I guess would be south. That's all, didn't they sell all the development rights off that?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it used to be
More
the
about
Morrill
Wood,
farm
yeah.
back there, by the lot.
The shocks.
Yeah, jogs.
Wow.
Okay, we all good on that?
Get screw started.
Painting needs, I asked to have this put on there, we talked about it a couple times. About painting the outside of the library, all the white on it needs to be stripped and painted or scraped and painted. It's something we need to work on our RFP for, put out to bid.
You know, you also got the town office.
That's, both of them is where I was getting at with it, so we need to put out this bid.
They're getting a little ripe out here, them posts too.
Yeah.
Might have to be done, maybe not now, or something.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, so I suggested the library, the painting, and then out here, there's a couple spots that need to be patched up high there, the paint's peeled off from. I would say a good cleaning, pressure wash and clean it up and then go back around and touch it up. I don't think the town hall needs to be completely painted, it's only been, I don't know, 5-6 years since it's been painted, but.
Outside or inside?
What's that?
Outside?
Outside,
No. Oh, 5-6 years,
yeah,
yeah,
it's been
probably.
5-6 years, yeah. Yeah, it's probably closer to 6 now.
Well, we have money budgeted for maintenance, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying I put it on here because now's the time to get it out to bid. People are bidding on summer work, so,
And those poles should be, the bottoms are rotted about 6
yeah, we
inches,
can
6
get
or 8
them to
inches.
put that
up
as
in
part of
bottom.
replacing the rot. Yeah, I'll tell Brian when he comes back in. So. We can come back to that, come back in. Authorized town administrator to sign CAD contract, page 24.
That's the yearly contract. we
Yeah,
have
this is
with
your
us.
contract. Is it the same amount of money or is it?
Yeah, same amount of money.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to allow Brian to sign that contract. Yeah.
The other question I had on this,
Yeah.
if there's a dispute, I didn't see any dispute resolution in here, do they take part in that? If they're gonna be marking something and say there's a dispute with the findings?
Dispute in what way?
I don't know, I mean, say that they're mapping, if I understand this, maybe I don't. If they're mapping this table and you think you own that corner and they say you don't,
Well, that's all determined by the deeds and the maps.
okay.
They don't actually do disputes. They might call in and say they have a question on the mapping. And they work really close with Tanya. She can find the maps and find the deeds and get it fixed within a couple of days. And then they're able to correct it.
About a week ago on 4th Street, I noticed something that was totally wrong. And I, thinking that I was going crazy, it was actually on the tax map on our website. So I had Amy look at it and then brought it out to Tanya and she took care of it.
So this, I'm still trying to get my hand around what this company does for us.
They do all the mapping.
They do all the mapping of all the parcels in the town and village.
And basically, it's,
For the GIS.
yeah.
People want to go on the GIS, they're
Online.
looking at properties
Yeah.
online, they
Okay,
want to see
all
it.
right, I
Yeah, keep it
understand.
updated.
Yeah, we've done business with them for years and years.
As long as I've been on here.
And we have to have them.
Mhm.
We have to either them or some other company.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the same price as last year.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
for Kathy, so the same price, so. Can I get a motion to?
I moved on.
All right, can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We were talking about the painting of the library and town office. So, we'd like to, you to draw up an RFP for the one for the library. Need to Scrape and paint, all the white paint on the outside of the library. Fix any rot. Want the bare spots primed, 2 coats of top on it. And the 3 windows above the entrance door need to be replaced. The ceiling shot and all of them.
On the First Street?
Yeah, on the First Street entrance up above there. And one of those windows, I'm pretty sure, is in the dead space. I think it's in the elevator shaft. I think it's just a blank window, but I just have to change from the outside. It's not a big deal, but.
Is this building on the historic register?
In this
Yes.
building is? Yeah.
The state register.
Yeah, yes. And then the town hall, a separate RFP for that. For basically, I think we should have someone pressure wash the top of it, the white, because it's so dirty and grimy. And then just touch up the spots that the paint's peeled off from. I don't think we need a total paint job. And then out here on the side entrance, the posts that are rotted need to be replaced on the roof.
Yeah,
The 2 posts come down, they're rotten there, so. Yeah,
On the front cover of the town report,
yeah.
the picture of the building taken probably in the 1930s.
Oh,
With
cool.
the original really fancy porches on it.
Yeah, interesting.
Is there a guy sleeping out there then?
No,
Yeah.
no. It was a different Swanton back in those days. Well, there were people sleeping, but
Yeah.
not in the picture.
All right, you good on that then?
Yeah.
Okay. Review job description for new administrative assistant, 27.
It's a work in process.
Yep.
If you want to even take it home and review it, that's fine.
Okay.
And decide at the next meeting, to add, but, you know, I still have time, I'd like to get it advertised right after town meeting.
How much time do you think this will save you, Brian? I tried to read this and say,
Yeah.
let's measure the time saved.
For me, approximately, I'd say 24 hours in a week.
I believe it.
16 to 24 hours.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a,
Yeah.
well spent.
It's, well, things will get done faster. I mean, I've, you know, a month and a half ago, I mentioned about taking and renumbering just the one development there on Rocky Ridge for 911, and I still haven't gotten to that yet, so,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, that's half
It's
your
gotta
work
get
week.
done, yeah.
Is this position save half your work?
Well, yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'll be out doing my thing out
Oh, yeah,
there.
yeah, that's what I need.
So,
That gives you time to do
working
your-
with this person, and, yeah.
Yeah, I think this looks great.
Now, what I did was take the town of Randolph had a position, I got their posting, and then I took the existing, we had an existing job description for the administrative assistant, the 8 hours a week, so I just kind of melded them together.
Yeah, looks good to me.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we priced it in the last meeting, didn't we?
Yeah, we put in at $20 per hour.
One thing I would like to see on here is where it says maintain and assist with the development of the town's website. They should also be in charge of the town's social media.
Oh, social media, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. No big deal.
Page 27.
Good job, Brian.
Should, the only other thing I saw, should you say in there somewhere, is that any other task asked by the town administrator?
Oh, it's in there.
It is in there, okay. I
It just
thought it was
says, work of similar nature
Okay.
as assigned.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's the catch-all clause in every job description.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do we want any motion on it, or you good?
I'm good as it
Yeah,
is. I'm
okay,
just
no, I'm good with
looking for
it.
suggestions, I'll
Yeah.
just proceed ahead and
Okay.
get things going.
Sounds
Take a
good.
look at it and come back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Get any input, and then
Yeah.
after that, we
Sounds
can
Yeah.
finish it up.
Okay.
You're not gonna put it out till April anyways.
After council.
After town meeting, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Community Economic Development, report on status website conversation.
Okay.
Conversion, so.
Yeah, conversion. I've got the contracts to sign digitally. I'm gonna do a memorandum of understanding between the town and the village that the company would really like to send out one invoice. You know, Bill and I had spoken about 2 invoices. The company would really like.
Well, why
one
can't they
invoice.
just do one and put it through the general fund?
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then, but then we can send a bill to the village.
Yeah, because they've agreed to share the cost of it.
50% of it, so. And so I'll do that memo, and it'll be very brief and to the point. So what I've done, of course, the cost of conversion and the transition, they charge us by the page, and I think I mentioned this at the last meeting. I started going into taking pages upon pages out, and the EcoPixel people noticed that because they keep looking at the website and say, wow, you got a lot less pages now, that's a good thing. So, and I put a little disclaimer right on the home page saying, you know, this is in the process of being changed. So please bear with us. So that's where we stand. So it's going along. Then last week on Wednesday, I met with, for lunch, Bill and I went out, Bill Sheets and I went out to the Swanton House Pizza and had lunch, and we talked about a variety of things. More of a get acquainted type deal. And then also we met again on Friday morning with a lady who is works in Senator Welch's staff. She had worked, Michelle Monroe, who used to be a reporter for the Messenger, and she had worked for Senator Leahy, and now she's working for Senator Welch, and she's doing rural development, and she's in charge of going out and visiting with the towns and coming up with some ideas and a variety of different sources. She mentioned USDA and the rural development funds, and they may have, we get to this, she was interested, she said they may have 0% interest money for the construction of the rec center. If we get to that point, they could have that. And then some other projects and whatnot. So it was pretty beneficial. She's sending me information and she's being able to get it in various
When she said 0% interest, we'd still have to repay the principal?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
unfortunately.
I just asked.
That's a big kicker.
Yeah, it helps.
So that meeting went pretty well. So we are also going, I guess all the town administrators and town managers are going to be going to a meeting on the 22nd of February just to get together a luncheon at the Bayside Pavilion in St. Albans, the Bay, and then after that we're going to tour the new St. Albans Town Hall. So that's
good that you're getting out, right?
yeah. Well, a year ago, it was getting out was impossible.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we want.
So things are going along there. Elizabeth, I will mention, I took this down, but Elizabeth has communicated with me, and she and I are going to get together and we're going to, figure out what needs to be done, where we are, and certain things, and what's left to be done, and what's going to be taken over. So that will try to get her scheduled for next week. That's what's happening there.
Okay. All right, good. So we're all good on economic development then. So highway, my dollar.
Well, before you move on,
Oh boy, go ahead.
so Michelle Monroe,
Yeah.
local, likes the area. Yeah. Maybe you should mention Route 78 to her.
Oh, we did.
And, you know, that it needs something more than what's being proposed. Because, you know, this is a similar situation to the bridge.
Yeah.
Where they were just gonna do the draw, replace the draw. Which, you know, didn't address any of the issues with the causeway being dangerous too.
Right.
You know, Sanders did come through on that deal, and that extra money is what the state was able to change their, you know, they're willing to change their plans.
Right. So, well, then we'll talk to her again about it.
Any turtles left out there?
What's that?
Any turtles left out there?
There probably is. You can't go down there because you're not supposed to bother them, so.
I realize that, yeah.
So I assume they're still
Oh,
there.
boy.
But the irony of the whole thing is, they lost their prime after they built that initial bridge, like Causeway. They lost their prime breeding area around where the old fish thing used to be because all the sediment kept staying in there. And that's what really caused their decline more, you know, but they assume that taking it out isn't gonna make any difference now, I guess. That's why they had the issue of the causeway. But it'll eventually be washed out anyways. If you look over there now, a lot of.
Oh, it's full of holes, yeah. Yeah.
So it's eventually gonna go away on its own. But, I don't know, it's just a thought,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Anything else? Last call?
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. Get it all in there. Highway, discuss new truck. So,
Didn't we just do that?
I should go out with a bang, right? I got one more meeting. Well, originally I had Kevin get a quote on a new truck, new tandem, thinking we had more money in the truck replacement fund than we did, because there was some confusion between me and Kathy. Really, I thought there was 140,000 in there. We hadn't taken out some stuff from last year out of there, so there's only about 50,000 in there. So we got 50,000 in there.
What do we budget this year?
We changed it to 50,000.
Changed
Yeah.
it to 50 in the budget.
So if we bought a truck today, we wouldn't see it till middle of next year, 2024. It's gonna take a year and a half, basically, to get a new truck.
How much do we have in the fund now?
There's only $50,000 in it.
Okay.
The truck's $261,000. Yeah. Equipped, all ready to go, just like the Western Star we got now.
And what are you gonna do with all the other trucks?
We're gonna get rid of the 2012.
How do you plan on doing that?
We're gonna put it out to bid and take the highest bid.
You think that's gonna amount to much?
Probably 25,000. If you get 50, I'd be happy, but we looked at trading that one when we bought the last one. Nobody wants it because it's an oddball, it's got a junk engine in it. Nobody wants the thing. The dealer's got 3 of them sitting on the lot they can't get rid of, so. It's not the oldest truck we got, but both the Internationals give us nothing but trouble.
So you're not, this price, because I actually did see, Kevin, you're looking at a Mack this time?
No,
No.
another Western Star, just like the Western Star we got, yeah. They're,
And that outfit wouldn't be interested in the truck we got, that International?
not really, we asked them the last time, this is Charlie Boyce.
Yeah.
They aren't gonna give you nothing for it, so you're better off put it out to bid, you might get more money on it out to bid. It's not, unfortunately, we bought a lemon when we bought it, and they all know that now. And the other one, the single axle, that's a 2015, and that acts up all the time too. We just twice in the last 2 weeks, we've had to have a mechanic up there to reset the computer because it's got emission issues with it. My hopes was we had a little more money in there originally when I started this process, but. So there's 50,000 in there now, there'll be 50,000 in there this year, there'll be 50,000 in there next year, I get you 150,000.
How are we gonna pay for the difference?
Well, two things, you could take the rollover money that's usually left in the budget at the end of the year. I mean, that's so kind of sort of a gamble, but you don't always know how much is in there, but generally it's mostly, what, 30 to 50,000 probably?
Yeah.
Somewhere's in there. So you'd have that for 23 and 24. You could make payments on the rest of what's left out of the money that we take from that. Lost my train of thought. The truck replacement fund money to make the payment.
like that reduces our ability to replace another one.
That's the only downfall about that.
If you're up to 50,000.
The next thing is, so this year is our final payment on our equipment loan we have. So that's 30-something thousand a year, right?
No, that's, no, it's only
28,000.
17,
17? I thought it was more than that.
no.
Okay, well, it's 17,000.
So we could use that if we wanted to borrow some money for the difference, we could use that to amortize.
You could use that to make the payment on what's left, yeah. I mean, it's gonna drag it out over more years, but
Will they give you a firm price, James?
this is a firm price right here.
It is.
That's a guaranteed price, yeah.
Wow, even if it's delivered in a couple of years, or a year?
They're telling me. That's the
When do they have to get paid?
Well, I don't believe you gotta
Before
get, I mean, we might have to give them a deposit, but I don't think you gotta, I didn't ask them about deposit, but you don't have to pay for the truck till it comes in, you receive
Yeah,
it.
we haven't paid for them.
We
until
haven't
they
paid for
come
any
in.
other ones, yeah.
You have to make deposits?
No.
No.
The last truck, they had the cab chassis on a lot, so we bought the cab chassis, then we bought the body. And this one, I said, Charlie boys are gonna take care of the whole thing, package deal. If there's a problem with the dump body being put on, they're gonna deal with it. We're not getting involved with this
So
time.
we go, did you go look at other,
I didn't get a quote from another dealer. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten international quotes before. They're cheaper, but they're nothing but a headache. And even the new ones today, they're nothing but problems with them. They're in the truck shop more than they're on the road.
do we have a policy though that says we have to give somebody bids for anything over so many dollars?
Well, probably should, but I don't think there's a policy for it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a policy, but
Now, you're dealing with, who you dealing with?
this is Charlie Boys.
Charlie
Yeah,
Boy.
the same one we bought the last truck from. They were great to us on the last truck. They did, you know, they took care of any issues we had. They helped us out with the problems that weren't their fault when they were putting the body on it, messing stuff up.
They're probably the best place at the end. I'm just wondering for
Yeah.
the public perception. And what you've done is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You went out and got us a good deal.
Yeah.
But from the
Yeah.
public perception, should we,
Yeah, I mean, we give them the price on a cab chassis. The body price is gonna be the same no matter what, because it comes with Viking. So they give us the price, and then all they do is put it with the truck price, so. I mean, I don't have a problem getting another quote on a cab chassis to compare. you
I
know.
mean, it
Yeah,
might just solve
Yeah.
some issues.
no, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah,
But where do we go?
Well, where do you go?
Yeah.
You're gonna have international, and then you got, there
Yeah.
must be a Mack dealer.
they still got Mack and Volvo in Burlington, so
They
you can
do.
get a price from them, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And you don't wanna even get a price from the internet.
I really don't, not with all the troubles we're having, and all the people I know have new ones that have nothing but trouble with them that they can't fix, and
You know, at one time International was a lot better deal because the state had the contract, they had the contract with the state, and so they
Yeah,
were giving
and
the same
that's the
price
hard
in the
part, is
municipality. But that was a long time ago.
Well, at times it tells us this,
Yeah.
we're the cheapest truck there is, so International's always the cheapest.
But they were
it's not the
probably
best.
better trucks back then than they are now.
Yeah, well, we
We've
still
got a
get
lot
less
of emission
emissions for
control,
that.
yeah,
That's the
it can
biggest
be a
trouble,
real,
you know? Yeah.
maintenance headache, for sure.
So I can get another quote, and then the next meeting we can come back and make the final decision.
Good job.
All right, so I got one more thing. So we got a grant last fall from Northwest Regional Planning Commission to buy originally it was for a stone screener, and they're $80,000. We ain't gonna spend $80,000 on a stone screener. So it has to do with road runoff and erosion and all this grant. So they said we could buy hay mulcher with it, and they're kicking in $4,720 on the mulcher. I got two different estimates on hay mulcher. The cheaper one's $11,050 from Franklin Rental, and then wrong paper. Got that rental was $14,000 for the same thing. So the cheaper was Franklin Rental.
And how much are they gonna give us?
They're gonna give us $4,720. And actually, I talked to Bethany the other day, and she won't promise, but she thinks she could probably get us $6,400 towards it. So there, I guess there's a little extra money in there, but, so, it's gonna cost us $6,330.
If anybody left in Swanton that deals with this kind of equipment, does Paul do that?
He could get
I
bale
don't know.
grinders, so the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, I don't know about the hay mulcher, but yeah,
Oh, yeah, a bale grinder,
Yeah.
it's the same freaking thing.
yeah.
just grinds it up and blows it out.
I know we asked around, we had trouble getting estimates on it, so we went to got that, and then we got Franklin Renault.
Who'd you get this from, Franklin?
Franklin Renault, yeah.
And it's got, that one's gonna have a motor on it and all?
Oh, yeah, it's all self-contained, right on a skid, yeah, those hose and everything. Because we do have, there is a hydroseeder that we own part of through Northwest Regional Planning Commission that's housed in St. Albans for any big projects, but the guys who are doing a little roadside ditching projects, easier to go down through this hay mulcher and mulch it.
Should we look,
Yeah.
I know you can't get involved here, Earl, but should we look at just asking Paul, only because he's a taxpayer and has a business here? Or
We can, we just bought the disc line from last fall, so, yeah. Yeah,
We take a look, I don't know,
Yeah.
you want a self-contained unit, so that might be different than what they.
yeah,
they
these are all
sell.
self-contained, so, yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of money though. How many horsepower?
Well, it's a Honda GX 390. I don't know if that comes out to, yeah, probably 10, 15 horsepower, maybe 10, 12.
So, they're gonna be limited to just square bales then?
Yep. Yeah, that's all our grind square bales, so. That's all most of the grind anyways, unless you get a great big
They're getting
round.
harder to come by, that's the only thing,
Yeah,
square bales.
yeah. But someone's gotta keep making them, because they're still using them in the mulchers, so. Yeah. That'd be a good side job for you, or make some square bales again.
Square bale days are done.
Alright,
We're going around.
so what do you guys wanna do on the mulcher?
I'd like to get one more bid, just some, the only thing is,
Is
they're
there,
taxpayers.
Yeah.
is there a deadline for that money from regional planning or no?
No, I think it's good for this year, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good for a while. The only issue was these guys were they're placing an order on them, so they were gonna order that one at the same time if we want to order it, so.
And who's the other outfit?
Got that rental out of Essex,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, Kevin asked around a few other places that they had a hard time finding finding one. And I can ask Kevin if he asked the Footnears, they may have, so. Yeah. So what do you wanna do? We wanna see if we can get an estimate from Footnears before we?
Yep.
Okay,
I agree.
alright. So I guess if Footnears can't supply one, are we okay going with the Frank Renault?
I am.
Okay.
Because he's good service.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, no, we always go there for stuff, so. Alright.
Should we make a motion?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, you wanted just to save on time, that if they can't provide one or an estimate, that we just go forward with this.
I'll move.
Okay,
okay, now,
yeah,
all right, he's moved, I'll second it, and then we gotta, I want that.
Yeah.
So now we
go
can
ahead,
have
go ahead,
discussion.
yeah.
Are we gonna do it if we don't get the 6,000?
Or,
Because right now,
Yeah.
she's guaranteeing you 4,
yeah, $4,720.
but you're telling us
Yeah.
that they got that.
Possibility, yeah. She was pretty certain, but she won't promise it, so that's just an extra bonus.
Yeah, but now we're gonna, our equipment fund for the, what we budget, we have enough in the budget? Highway budget for new equipment?
We budgeted.
Be close,
Yeah,
yeah.
there should be enough.
Yeah, there's like 7,000 difference maybe, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earl, did you second that?
I second
Okay,
it.
why don't you abstain because of your brother?
Oh,
And I'll
okay,
Yeah,
second.
that's
okay,
fine.
I'll abstain,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll abstain.
Yeah. All right, okay, so that's what we're gonna do then. We're gonna do that. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed,
Abstain.
and Earl's abstaining. All right. Oh, got that. Game mulcher.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, weight limit, see.
We got this
Yeah.
notice from
Yeah, I saw the
V-Trans,
email.
Keep
and
you up, Cody.
they,
It's early.
so it's, you know,
Yep.
I guess looking for, if you want to implement the rule.
Yeah. We already have it implemented. Anyways, I think our roads are all posted for 24,000, I think.
So,
Yeah.
Are farm vehicles exempt from this?
What's that?
Are farm vehicles
Where's the air?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And no trucks.
oh, yeah, yeah. All right, well, I'll go with that then.
Yeah.
Okay, any other necessary business? We need to recess and go into liquor control board.
I'll move that we recess the select board meeting to convene the liquor control board.
All right, second?
Second?
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Now, we've got some liquor licenses approved.
Okay, so I have, well, it's liquor licenses and now tobacco licenses are back to us again. They took them away, now they've given them back. So Caitlin's Creations,
Yep.
she has her liquor license, and then she has, regular tobacco, and, what do they call that? Tobacco substitute endorsement, which is your Jewels and all those
Oh,
things.
yeah.
They have no violations.
Okay.
Wesco, which is Champlain Farms, they have 2 locations in Swanton, one on 186 First Street, 2 Canada Street.
Yeah.
They have 2 licensed to sell, and they each have a tobacco license and a tobacco substitute license with no violations.
Okay.
Third one is Jolly Associates, and they have 1 license to sell, and also a regular tobacco license and a tobacco substitute endorsement, and they have no violations.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve all 4 of those technically.
I'll move.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right.
Do we get anything, do we get a fee for this?
For the selling of alcohol, we get $70. The tobacco
So we get all
license.
these licenses, we get something out of it.
Yeah, we get, right, exactly. We get $70 for the, license to sell alcohol. There's no charge for the tobacco, even the state doesn't even charge. So the state gets $70 and we get $70.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Now, motion to go back in the regular meeting.
I'll move we adjourn the liquor control board and re-enter the select board meeting.
All right.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, correspondence, A, email 2123 from Mr. George. I'm sure you guys have all seen that.
Yep.
All right. Yep. I would just propose that we take that and note it, tag it to your minutes. Simple as that, so it's noted. I'm not gonna read it all, I'm not gonna get an argument over it. You wanted it noted that way,
He requires it's in the minutes.
Yep, everything that's on that page, make sure you get it from Brian and it's attached to the minutes. Should be able to just copy and paste it, you won't even have to type it out. Everybody else good with that?
Yep.
Okay. Good. And, B. Guess I got it right better tonight.
The notch.
Notch, yes, the notch came in after the fact of the proposal.
This is dated, the letter is dated February 1st, and we received it yesterday to the select board. And on behalf of the, if I may read it,
Go ahead.
Okay. On behalf of the Richford Health Center, I request the Swanton Select Board authorize the publication of an article for vote at the annual town meeting in March. The Health Center requests an article to authorize allocation of $2,000 to support the summer day camp program offered at the Swanton Recreation Fields. In 2022, the clinics of the Northern Tier Center for Health, Notch, served over 18,000 patients from the local area. We've conducted the summer day camp program since 2017 at the Swanton Recreation Fields, which continues to offer free lunch and breakfast to all children ages 0 to 18. The camp was originally only 2 weeks and was able to increase to 4 weeks with grant funds, which ended in 2022. The day camp had 148 registered campers with an average attendance of 97 per day. Notch would gratefully appreciate the financial support of the town of Swanton. Without the town's help, the day camp could not exist. Thank you. And it's sincerely signed by Kathy J. Benoit, Executive Director. The warning has already been posted, it was published, and there's no way we can't add it, so that's...
But can we find the money somewhere to help?
Well, that was the next question. So they're asking for $2,000. I mean, I know it's a great thing. They do wonderful things for those kids.
What do you think, Nicole?
It is a very valuable program for the youth in the community, and I know it is very well attended. Swanton Recreation does offer them the space at no charge. We take care of trash and maintenance and other things. But I think the added support would definitely go a long way for their programming.
You got an idea of the numbers of kids that participate?
Right there is accurate, it's about 148 kids registered, averaging 97 kids a day, and that's not including the staff. They do great things for our youth by giving them opportunities for work and during those periods of time.
I'll throw it out there. How about we take $2,000 out of the ARPA money, if we can do that, put towards it, and then just tell them that we did that this year, but, you know, or we just automatically put it on for next year.
Yeah.
Just tell them they missed the deadline, unfortunately, and
Right.
seeing it's a valuable asset to the town, that we're willing to do that, and then, next year we put it on the regular
Then it will
budget.
be put on
Yeah.
next year. Yep.
So,
Well,
I'll
I have
entertain a
just taken
motion
copy of
to,
that letter.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll entertain a motion to take $2,000 from the ARPA funds for the Notch Day Camp.
I'll move.
Alright. Second on that?
Oh, one second.
Yep. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I want to just take a second here.
Yep.
I know I don't really like to respond to these letters, but this is not accurate. Well, the town of Swanton gives Friends of Northern Lake Champlain $0. The town of Swanton is the one that, the town of Swanton gives.
Yeah.
yeah, they said it here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of information in there that's
Do you
just,
want to put that in record if it's not factual?
Yeah, it should be noted in the minutes that that is not, the town of Swanton does appropriate, and how much money every year? 15, 2,000, what do we give to Friends?
I think it's, let me go look, I don't want to quote, it's late.
Go, gotta go.
well, it's just ridiculous.
I know,
Yeah.
but that is a
And that's
total,
why I
that
said-
one there is
Yeah.
complete, and I don't want other people to get, to see
Oh, yeah.
that and say,
Yeah.
oh, we don't.
Well, it's
we do.
basically threatening us in there to really read all the fine print.
Oh, I don't find out, I've been threatened worse than that by my own uncle.
Where's the part earlier you don't think is accurate?
2,000.
Right down, if you look, well, the town of Swanton gives
2020.
zero.
Yeah.
See, he has the village giving the money, but it comes out of the general fund. Everybody in
Yeah.
Swanton pays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should, and I think you're right on, if it's not accurate, we should put it in there, we should, oh yeah, let him know too,
Yeah.
because this is his bully pulpit here.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
so it should, you know, it should be noted in the minutes that, you know, the town does appropriate the money and the amount.
And we
Okay.
also give
Just
Mississippi
so-
River Basin 500 too.
Yeah, and what did,
2,000 for that.
2,000,
Yeah.
okay. So you can note that in a minute, Joe.
Oh, I just.
And then,
You wait.
and, you know, and I won't get into this because I gave them until the 15th to come back with the proposals on my RFPs for the stormwater stuff, so, but, that's gonna be, you know, the prices are right around $25,000 or more per development, and that's without any corrective construction work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's quite a contribution, the permit fees and all
Yeah.
that go to
Yeah.
the state, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not
Yeah.
it's not like
incorrect,
we're not
but it is.
doing
Yeah.
anything. And
Yep.
then he accused me of not caring one time in a
Well, I just get sick
conversation.
of the emails and stop responding to them.
And
because they
you
just go
heard
around
Ken
in circles.
tonight how we fought for that in Montpelier,
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
So.
that's, anyways.
all
Okay,
right.
I just wanted to
No, that's good.
put that in here.
Public comment? Anybody have anything on public comment? All right. Yeah, I know. So, next, I'm just gonna skip down here real quick. Tuesday, the 21st is our next meeting.
Yeah.
I can't be here on the 21st. Can we move it to the 22nd or something?
What was that? You're having-
Monday's the 20th, yeah.
The 23rd, or how about give yourself another day? Can
Yeah.
you do it the 23rd?
Yeah, that's fine. Just so we can do it that week's fine,
You
give me
know,
5 days, but yeah.
Going by mine.
Yeah,
I would have been ready to go, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
everybody's different.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, let's do the 20.
The 23rd is the DRB meeting.
Oh, the 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
we'll
the
try.
22nd then.
Okay.
We can
You
do
can always do
22nd, but-
Yeah, where's gonna be worse? Okay.
No, I'm just.
It's my last official meeting other than the.
Yeah, we don't want you to miss.
No, I don't wanna miss it, you know.
So we're going to the 22nd?
We're gonna go,
Wednesday the
yeah,
22nd.
let's do the 22nd.
I won't be here, James.
You're not over here?
We don't have to do
On vacation the 20th, that day,
Okay.
Where are you leaving?
in South Carolina.
Coming back?
No.
28.
28th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna take minutes then? Because I'm gonna be in the
Oh, no, I'm
background.
not counting minutes. And record it. Never thought about that. You can't
We have
even
anything
put
going
this
on the 16th, Thursday? Next Thursday? Well, actually, it's right here in front of me.
15th.
Yeah, 15th, and then the 20th is closed.
When's the
The
16th?
16th 's next Thursday. I'd rather not have it on Friday night, so. It just gives a few more days to get the information we need and
Yeah.
whatever else.
Kathy has to get the orders and stuff done.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, I'll definitely get them done.
Unless you wanna bump it out to the
December,
27th, but that's,
January
well, the 28th is the informational meeting or 27th?
28th.
28th, that'd be 2 nights in a row we're gonna have a meeting.
It's all right.
Yeah.
That's what we're-
Doesn't matter to me. Does that work for you, Kathy? Oh, then I ain't gonna help you, you're gonna be gone. We can't win. Yeah.
Well,
Unless you zoom in.
Yeah.
yeah, you want my computer? Actually, it ain't
You're on
bad. You
vacation,
know,
you
I
probably don't wanna zoom
need a
in.
better set of headphones
Yeah.
than what I had with me because I had a full off.
Yeah.
It did work good. And you could see and, you know, when I had them headphones good.
It's a short month,
You know,
too.
here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but Ed has a
That's
smartphone.
gonna mess
He
you
can
up
just
with
do
the
it from
orders,
his
Kathy.
phone.
No, I'll pay all the bills I have up until that date, and if I
Okay.
have to pay ones that I have to pay after come in that day, I'll pay them so
Yeah.
they're not late.
Okay, so
That's
what
what
day, what day are we talking?
Do.
16th,
16th?
and everyone's here?
Oh, it's my
Everyone's doing
sister's
16th?
birthday.
I think that's good for me
I can
too.
do the 16th.
Okay, let's do that then.
So
Yep.
16th.
Yeah, we'll change that, so we're gonna change our meeting from the 21st to 16th.
At 7 p.m.
You'll have to put that on the sign
But you
out there,
wouldn't be here.
Brian, that it's been changed.
No, I can't make it. Yeah, yeah.
But you- I thought you only wanted 3 people.
Oh, we only need 3 people, but I figured you wanted to be here.
Of course I won't be here.
So that's why I said we're back to the 16th, we'll all be here.
All right.
Okay. So Wednesday, February 15th, planning commission meeting, 6:30 PM here at the town offices. Monday, February 20th, President's Day, town office operations will be closed. Tuesday, February 16th, we're gonna have a regular select board meeting here at 7 PM at town offices.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't cross that out Thursday. I had the right date.
So the 16th is the Thursday?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, Thursday the 16th.
all right. Anybody need executive session for then? No. I'll take, entertain a motion to adjourn then.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
You go home and watch your present?
Oh, we'll get home, yes,